Hi, I'm Dr. Judy Morgan. I'm at the AHVMA convention in Augusta, Georgia. That's the Holistic Veterinary Medical Association. I'm meeting some really awesome, innovative people here. We're talking about some great new products, and I need to introduce you to someone who I think is one of the foremost researchers and really smart people on supplementation for our pets, caring for our pets, and keeping them healthy, and that's Dr. Rob Silver. Rob, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, Judy. It's great to be here.
So I understand you've got so many irons in the fire. I don't know how you have time to even get up and get going in the morning with so much on the plate. But so one of the way that I met you originally is through RX Vitamins. So tell us about RX Vitamins.
Well, about 20 years ago, RX Vitamins came to me and asked if I would help them develop a line of nutraceuticals, which are special types of vitamins and minerals and herbs to help veterinarians dispense and treat animals with this kinder, gentler therapy.
Right, so the great thing about this is not drug therapy. This is using vitamins and herbs and things that are really going to help build up the body, correct?
Exactly, and I've chosen supplements, which is really what our company is making, for which there's good evidence basis, there's good research that shows that it really works in our pets. And the idea behind these is to help the veterinarian. It's not meant to be used it certainly could be used as a standalone therapy, but they also will help the veterinarian use them along with their conventional therapies to help temper the toxicity and whatever potential adverse side effects might come from pharmaceutical therapies.
Exactly. One of the problems with the pharmaceutical industry, as we all know, is that sometimes you have side effects from medications, and then you need more medications to fix the side effects from the previous ones. And one of the great things about the products that RX Vitamins supplies is it's a natural way to kind of temper some of those side effects.
Well, exactly. And many of these substances, what they really do is they help the body to heal itself. Many times pharmaceuticals don't do that. They just simply remove the symptoms that you're seeing, but the symptoms come back because you haven't taken care of the root problem. So, we've been doing it for 20 years. It's become quite popular amongst the vets, and I feel really good because I feel that I'm contributing to the larger picture of wellness for our animals.
That's really what it's all about. We're here to help the animals, and by helping the animals, we help the owners because everybody wants their pets to be happy and healthy.
Well, absolutely. And, vet bills are quite pricey these days, and even though the supplements themselves are not inexpensive, ultimately they can allow the animal to get better sooner at less financial cost and also less physical cost.
Exactly. So besides RX Vitamins, which I think, that's a full-time job in itself because you're always innovating new products for them, and hopefully we can get to those. But I also understand you've got a couple of new projects that are just coming around that I think are really awesome, and one of those includes a book. Tell us about that.
Well, I've just completed a book. It's at the printers now. I'm expecting it back any day now, and I'm also expecting the files because I also have it in an ebook format. Awesome. And as a veterinarian who's been practicing in Colorado for the last 32 years, for about the last 10 years of my practice, we've had legal medical marijuana in Colorado. And that's given me an opportunity to observe the benefits of that to the animals as my clients would come into me and say, I gave my dog a little bit of my stash. He was having trouble getting around. Now he's getting up on the couch again. So although it's not legal for a veterinarian to prescribe these things, it certainly was fine for me to listen to their experiences. And from doing that, I gained a lot of experience myself as far as what works, what doesn't work. And then recently, there have been problems with dogs that have been accidentally eating edibles off tabletops, which have very strong dosages of THC. And many people don't know that dogs are much more sensitive to the adverse effects of THC than people are. And I felt, the best way to help prevent more of these overdoses and these emergency room admissions is to try to educate the public. And I felt the best way to do that, coming from my position as a veterinary herbalist and a veterinarian practicing in Colorado, was to write a book. The title of the book is Medical Marijuana and Your Pet. Simple, to the point, and that's what it's all about. I've got chapters in there that kind of describe what is marijuana, why does it have a good effect on our pets. But I also have chapters that help the owner understand how to introduce it to their pet in a safe way. I have recipes in the book if the owner lives in a state where medical marijuana is legal. And if you're in a state where medical marijuana is not legal, I'm sorry. This book is not for you, nor is this advice. I can't sanction you're breaking the law, but work democratically within your state to change the laws. Okay, that's my little plug.
That's our disclaimer.
So I also so the recipes are for people who live in states where they could buy some marijuana, and then instead of buying something processed that might be more expensive, it would be less expensive for them then to use these recipes I've provided to extract it into coconut oil or butter or olive oil to put it into a format that's easier to give to their pet and provides a consistent dosing from one dose to another of this stuff. I also have in there a guide to dispensary products so that they can know which dispensary products to avoid and which dispensary products are better to use, safer for their pets, so to speak. And I have 5 stories of patients, some of them my own dogs, as far as what their experiences were with the use of medical marijuana to help guide the pet owner in terms of making that decision. Is this right for me? And I do have to say that we're not talking about using medical marijuana to get the dogs stoned.
Right.
It's not about getting them high, it's about getting them well. That's kind of my tagline.
Okay, so that brings up, so you're talking about using the real medical marijuana, which does have some THC in it. So how does that compare to the no THC or low THC products that are out there? Are we getting the same effect from that?
We are getting a lot of the same effect, although no one will deny that THC itself has its own medicinal benefits separate from the benefit of the other ingredients that are in marijuana. There's something called cannabidiol, commonly called CBD, that we find generally in lower amounts in marijuana, which has THC in it, and higher amounts in something we call hemp. Now, hemp is also the marijuana plant, but it's a different genetic variation. So hemp has high CBDs, which is a very potent medicinal component that's not psychoactive, but it also contains high fiber and very low THC. And hemp is legal to use in the United States, and they're making extracts from hemp that happen to have high amounts of CBD, and those we are seeing in the marketplace, and many pet owners are using that and reporting really good success with it.
Okay, so that might be the option for those who live in states where they can't get the real deal.
Well, it is, and for a veterinarian, THC is what they call a Schedule 1. And Schedule 1 means, as a veterinarian, it's illegal for us to prescribe that. In the states that have medical marijuana, it's for people. It's for the physicians, the doctors, the DOs, and their patients, not for veterinarians, not for animals. Because technically or legally, pets are owned by their people. If a person's in a state with medical marijuana where they can get it legally, then they can give it to their pet if it's being done in a compassionate and careful fashion. Because if you did give marijuana to your pet and had an overdose, it's entirely possible, depending on your community, that you might wind up having animal abuse charges leveled at you, and you don't want that. So this is for pets who aren't well. This is for pets who really need something extra. Pets that maybe have epilepsy and they're on the drugs, but they're still having seizures. We're not certain that used alone, without the anticonvulsant drugs, that the marijuana will work. And I think in some cases where it's less severe, it may, or the hemp or the CBD, but I think in many of the more severe cases, we do need to have a little more THC in there than what we're seeing with just the hemp itself, or use higher dosages than what we're seeing in many commercial products in the marketplace.
I think this is just such a fascinating topic, and we could probably talk about it all day because you are a fountain of information. I've heard some of your lectures. You have more research to back everything up. This is not just all anecdotal evidence. You are someone who does your homework, and I think your knowledge is just incredible. And I applaud you for that and for wanting to help these animals. So I know you have a couple of new websites and other projects going on that are going to be really, really helpful for the pet owners. So tell us about those.
Well, first of all, let me kind of get closure on the book. The book will be available in a few weeks, and for those pet owners who are interested in checking it out, I have what's called a landing page, and it's very easy to remember. It's potforpets.info. If you go to that place, you'll read all about it, and then there'll be some links where you could download free excerpts, or you could go ahead and buy an ebook, or you could buy the print version. So that's where, if anyone's interested in that, you should go to that website.
potforpets.info, which that should be easy to remember. All right, so and I know there's a couple of other websites that we want to drive people to, so what are those?
Well, there are. I'm just about ready to launch a blog site with a pet hospice nurse who's going to be a co-blogger with me. We're calling it NurseYourPet.com. And on this website, we want to provide information for free to the pet owner who has a pet who has a serious, potentially terminal disease or chronic disease like cancer or epilepsy or chronic GI problems. I'm also going to have a blog there to talk a lot more about cannabis. And these blogs will be interactive. So if people come to the blog, they want to ask a question, they certainly can, and I will be answering those questions directly. We're also going to talk about pet hospice care and talking about how you can use supplements and diet and caring for the animal in many different ways to help improve their quality of life for the last part of their life. There's no reason why at the end of our lives any of us should be suffering, whether we have 4 legs or 2 legs, because there's plenty of tools out there that we can use.
And this is why I love you so much, because people who follow me know that senior care and hospice care are that's a part of my soul. It feeds my soul. And, for you to offer free interactive information and help for pet owners who are struggling and may not have a place to turn to get that information, I applaud you. I love you for that. And, I think that's really important. And I think there's another thing coming down the pipe, right?
Like you say, I do have a lot of irons in the fire, but I will say I don't consider this work in order to pay attention to these things. But my feeling is that in my clinical practice, I'm able to put fires out, take care of problems one at a time. But by going to the public and offering information in a public context, I'm hopeful that I can help many, many more pets and pet owners than I can do it just one by one in my clinic. So I also have what's called an e-commerce site. This is a place where I sell stuff. And this is where people will go when they want to buy my book. And we also sell supplements and other things that I think are critical for helping pets have better quality of life at the end of their life. That address is wellpetdispensary.com. That's wellpetdispensary.com. And there's also another endeavor in addition to this.
See, too many irons in the fire. When does he sleep?
Well, I'm trying to find some time to sleep every couple of days. But for the last 20 years, I've been chief medical officer of RX Vitamins for Pets. We talked about that to begin with. But I have to say that RX Vitamins for Pets has been one of the shining lights in my life in terms of giving me a platform in which I can help teach vets how they can also better help their animals. So I just wanted to kind of put another plug in for RX Vitamins for Pets.
That is absolutely fine. Everybody who follows me knows that I love that product line. I recommend it all the time. It's in my books, and and it had allowed me to meet this amazing man because we actually were emailing when he was talking about his book and getting it published, and he asked me which publishers I used and whether I self-published and how we brought that about. And it gave an opening for me to actually talk to the man behind the product, the brains that I'm just amazed by. So I just want to thank you for everything that you do for pets. I think, the passion and the caring for the pets and their owners really comes through. And what you're doing now is all about passion and giving back to the community. So thank you so much for doing that.
Well, thank you, Judy. It's not just about passion. it's also about compassion.
Exactly.
Because I really want to help those little four-leggeds.
And that's it. That's a wrap. And again, I'm so thankful for this man for being here and for everything that he does. So check out his websites, check out his book. Even if cannabis or marijuana, hemp, whatever, if it's not legal in your state, there's still going to be other ideas that you're going to be able to get. And I think that it's all just going to be really helpful for you and your pets. So check it out. Thanks for tuning in.